I'm not talking about Milky Way. So one of the most unique parts of the Brony fandom is our obsession with background characters. You know what I mean, assets that are just there to fill space and not meant to have any specific personality traits. But for some reason, Bronies obsess over them, headcanoning their personalities, interests, flaws, etc. There's about 9 main ones you're going to be seeing in most fan works: Derpy, Dr. Hooves, Lyra, Bonbon, Vinyl, Octavia, Carrot Top, Colgate, and Berry Punch, with some modern contenders popping up such as Rainbow Shine and Linky. If the writers and show staff had control over the main characters, it felt like Bronies had control over the background characters. And that statement would be proven true, as most fan interpretations would be reincorporated into the show itself. And while we have the luxury of remixing these characters, the show doesn't have the luxury of remixing our fan characters. Original characters have always existed in effectively every fandom, but My Little Pony seems to be the biggest perpetrator of this. Whilst in other areas making an OC might seem cringy, it almost comes to be expected when you sign up to the Brony fandom. We have so many pony creators and even an entire game around playing as your OCs, but some OCs become so popular due to the creative implementations of them that they sort of gain their very own following or fandom, just like if they were an official character. Some become so popular and ubiquitous to the community, a few outsiders are actually quite surprised when they learn they aren't official. So today I'm going to be going over some of the most popular My Little Pony fan characters, look at their origin, as well as why they became so popular. Keep in mind, I'm going to be talking about strictly fan characters, not alternate versions of already existing characters. So don't expect Pinkamena or Sweetie Bot in this video, but if you guys want me to cover My Little Pony AUs in a separate video, please let me know in the comments below. So let's take a trip down memory lane and talk about the most infamous My Little Pony fan characters.
Bring your wife! We'll fuck her! That's right, we'll fuck your wife!
Creamheart was a fan character co-created by Jan Animations and Berry Sweet. I couldn't find any information about Berry Sweet online, as most information regarding them have been lost, but I'm pretty sure most of you are familiar with Jan Animations. A super talented animator that was able to flawlessly replicate the Generation 4 animation style, and used it to create his fan series Button Mash Adventures. Button Mash was a character who briefly appeared in the episode Hearts and Hooves Day, where he's seen playing an arcade cabinet. Creamheart was an original character made for this series that served to be Button's mom. I actually don't know where the name Creamheart came from, as in the credits she's just referred to as Button's mom. It's a pretty literal translation of her cutie mark being a baby bottle with milk and a heart, but I'm guessing Milk Heart didn't roll off the tongue as easily as Creamheart, and there's already a milk-themed fan character. I think her existence helped shape much of the identity of Button, because the pilot took such a life of its own that Button was more identifiable from it than the show itself. She had this really nice comedic dynamic with Button that really made her feel like a real mom. These two really did feel like a package deal, a really strong sense of a mother and son dynamic. But there is another reason as to why she became so popular other than her presence in this very successful fan pilot, and that is porn. So much porn. And thankfully, that's not going to be a reoccurring theme in this video.
Fuck you! You fucking dick! Always naysaying!
I'm gonna be so honest with you guys when I say this. I know nothing about this girl. Because guys, I can't read 14 chapters as well as a prologue and an epilogue in 2 weeks, and I'm not taking another month-long break to make a video. Nyx is one of the oldest My Little Pony fan characters ever. Created by fanfiction writer Pen Stroke, Nyx debuted in the fanfiction Creeping Darkness, which this part is about to sound crazy, but it is a crossover between My Little Pony and the video game Alan Wake, which I'm not going to play for the video because Nyx is a character derived from Luna put into the body of a filly, but I all around consider her to be a separate character from Luna, given her unique personality traits, and is effectively a different being altogether. It's kind of like the movie The Substance, as they are individuals, yes, but they are connected in a way where one can't exist without the other. She played a supporting role in her debut comic, but got more notable attention in its sequel, Sins Past, where it was revealed that Nyx was a failed attempt to try to revive Nightmare Moon by giving her her own body, creating this, quite frankly, adorable character. And ironically enough, later down the line, we would get a fan character of this fan character, Dix, who is a Daybreaker version of Nyx. It's funny because her name is Dix. Dix. I think she was created by Pony Quarantine, but there's just as much of a chance she was concocted by Anons on 4chan. She's a rude, vulgar, racist, drug-addicted crackhead. Basically the exact opposite of Nyx. I could be talking out my own ass, but I think I prefer Dix's design over Nyx. Since we have come a long way from the early beginnings of the fandom, Dix starts to look more like an actual character and less like an OC. But my personal favorite interpretation of Dix is the one made by Jargon Scott, where he would hypothesize what Nyx and Dix would look and behave like if they were the age of Celestia and Luna. And I gotta say, yeah, these are really great designs. And it even goes back and fixes some of the issues I have with Nyx's design too. Wait, does 4chan make OCs?
Julia sometimes does things differently because Julia has autism.
Ah, it's a hate symbol! Ah, it's a hate symbol! I've never seen something so awful in my life! So if you looked at any My Little Pony fan work, you might have noticed this green man. This is Anon, or a visual representation of anonymous users on 4chan. But we aren't going to be talking about this guy. He has no hooves. What we are going to be talking about is the ponified version of him, Anon Philly. The joke around Anon is that a truly degenerate fan of My Little Pony interacts with the characters themselves. So to circumvent this, Twilight transformed Anon into the docile Anon Philly. Anon Philly would be introduced in 2014 and caught on as a quintessential mascot of the /MOP boards. Anon Philly can really be whatever you want her to be, whatever suits your agenda, including a full-grown Anon Mare. Anon Mare is just simply Anon Philly all grown up, and it's become a depressed, jobless, unwashed freak, which for some of you might really like. A lot of people don't like her on the basis that she comes from 4chan, often sticking her with labels like racist, which sure if you want her to be, but if we're using this train of logic, that would mean Derpy is also racist, or the term brony is also racist. Alright, enough of this shit before I start sounding like a fucking chud. Surely the last character on this list isn't controversial at all.
I don't care who the IRS sends, I am not paying taxes.
So I'm not going to be covering any of the disgusting, deplorable shit this creator has done. They are a truly terrible human being, but I could not ignore this character. The numbers do not lie. Flufflepuff came from the fan animated series Dan vs. FIM. Based on a bumper from the Hub Network when that was still around, it crosses over Dan from the cartoon Dan Vs. and My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Dan is a huge jerk, so Equestria is definitely a juxtaposition for him. Fluffle was originally introduced in the comics and cartoons board on 4chan, created by Mixer Mike 622. The appeal of Flufflepuff is more than just her large coat, but also the fact that she does not have a single thought up there. It's all snow, no channels. Much like a Looney Tunes character abiding by the laws of comedy, Flufflepuff seems to be able to warp reality around her to whatever is the cutest. The most popular video featuring her by far is pink fluffy unicorns dancing on rainbows, which is exactly how it sounds. And holy shit, that is a big number. Needless to say, she's been a cornerstone for many people's childhoods in the fandom, and arguably the most iconic OC to come from the fanbase. But who needs the brony fandom when you can make turbo money for a little bit? Not really. Oh no. These designs are abysmal. You know, when you strip away the pony qualities from these characters, Flufflepuff becomes less cute and more quirky, Chungus, wholesome 100 Reddit girlfriend. I promise you, even if Fluffle Mixer didn't do all that predatory shit, this would nowhere near be a successful original IP, or even a very good one. What happened to Chrysalis?
Whose goddamn white baby is that?
This isn't Chrissy, this is fucking Catherine. I'm guessing making her black would trigger the Hasbro censors. But what's terrifying, if you go back to 12 years ago, they were always there. We were fooled. I was promised Marikino and all I got was Google Ducky. Go, get out of here. Don't you understand? I don't want you here anymore. So what have we learned, other than don't be a predator? Well, fan characters seem to be as quintessential to the My Little Pony experience as the actual show, which helped build the culture of the brony fandom. So now I want to turn the question on to you guys. What are some of your favorite My Little Pony OCs? Are there any I missed in this video? Let me know in the comments below. And before I go, I do have one special announcement. Can you draw a circle and a line? Do you have a pulse and have internet access? Are you 16 or older and interested in participating in a fandom project with absolutely zero pay? Well, my fan project project, My Little Pony Chronicles is opening up the floor to thumbnail artists. We decided to switch gears and start focusing on being more of a multi-artist project. We just need a good guideline to help our artists. They don't need to be super detailed, you don't have to be an experienced artist or animator, just join our vetting Discord server and submit any work you have done in the past. Anyway, that is all the time I have for today. Thank you for watching, I've been May, and I'll see you next time.